Guys, welcome back to my channel. As you can see, my background looks slightly different. That's because I am on the road for work. So I am actually like miles away from home, but I am staying committed to the task. And I wanted to give you guys a review of the Costa Rica match. I'm sure you all know by now that we unfortunately lost 1-0. It was a narrow defeat, in fact. And joining me to review the game is Travis McKenzie, illustrator, animator, and writer, and he's also a student at UTECH. Travi, how are you?
Doing well, doing well. This lost the match last night, but all is well.
Yeah. How's your day going?
It's been okay. Back from the road about 30 minutes ago, and I'm here now, not doing much.
Interesting. First of all, before we get into the match review of last night's defeat, I just want to say a massive thank you for your show of support over the past few years. I've been following my channel pretty much from the start. So I just want to express my gratitude, and I'm just really grateful for the fact that you've been following me along my growth and development.
Yeah, man, no problem. I always love to support anyone that is supporting Jamaica, because it's really hard to find stuff about Jamaica, especially Jamaican football on the internet. So seeing you there really means a lot.
Excellent. Travi, what do you make of the 8 changes that was made to last night's starting 11?
Yeah, so the changes were expected. I expected him to make changes in the attacking third because, the game before we weren't really firing as much as we wanted to. I know we scored 2 goals, but we squandered a lot of opportunities. And even in last night's match, you can see why he made the changes as well, because even this match, we had a lot of chances and we didn't really take advantage of those chances.
Do you think it was the right call? Because I know a lot of people were on the coach's back for the first 2 games in the group stage. Despite winning, a lot of people were calling for the likes of Tarik Mcgee to come into the game. A lot of people also calling for someone like Big Heck to be dropped to the bench. Do you think that the coach made the right decision with those 8 changes?
Yes. Looking back at it, I can say that some of the changes were necessary in terms of keeping those players available for the next match, the quarterfinals, because I think some of them were on yellow cards, so you didn't want to risk losing those players for the quarterfinals. And also, I think it was an opportunity for some of those players that aren't getting as much game time just to show the coach their value in the squad. So I think it was a good time for some of those players to showcase their skills.
Do you think, I agree with you on that point, Travi, but do you think that was a worthy decision? Is that a decision that you would have made, or would you have just gone with consistency? Because consistency is definitely needed if you want to progress to the latter stages of the tournament and possibly go on to winning it. So would you have stuck to what some might call a bit of a defensive play from Tapa? Last night it wasn't so defensive, it was more of tiki-taka football, pretty football, but pretty football don't usually get you over the line, as you can see from last night's game. So would you have done things differently, or is it a case of combining our defensive stability with the pretty tiki-taka football?
Yeah, so in retrospect, looking back at the match now, I think I would remain with the same lineup that we used in the Guadeloupe match, because if it's not broken, don't try and fix it, So I think that yes, I would make changes, but I wouldn't have made so many changes.
Who was your star player from that game?
Star player, well, I can't say it's anyone in the attacking third. I'd have to go with Damian Lowe.
Okay, okay, good pick, good pick. I'll pick you
Yeah.
up on the attacking third. Why did you highlight the attacking third? I think that's actually a excellent pick.
Yeah, I look back at the stats. I think Jamaica had like 8 to 9 shots on goal. I think 5 of them were on target, 4 were off target, and the match ended with us not scoring a single goal. And Costa Rica had one shot on target, and that was their singular goal that won them the match. I think that our build-up play is good, but when it comes to like the final decision making, I think that's where we're faulting. I think the guys need to work on their striking and their composure in front of goal.
I agree with you. And keeping on the subject of the attacking third, what do you make of the substitution of Mr. Corey Burke? How do you feel about Corey Burke being part of the starting 11 going into the quarterfinals, which we know by now will be taking on the USA?
Yeah, Corey Burke for me is one of those strikers that is very hardworking. He is very physical in the attacking third as well. He can bully someone off the ball and score himself or pass it on to someone else. I think he has more to his game than just actually scoring goals. I think he can help out his counterparts in the attacking third as well. So I think that he will be. I think he should start against the USA personally.
I agree with you. I agree with you. Definitely when he came on in the latter stages of yesterday's match, it's such a shame that he wasn't able to grab a goal, but he did look quite lively and he was asking a few questions. What do you make of Mr. McGee? A lot of people have been raving about Tarik Mcgee. Finally, they got to see him play last night, the little magician in the middle of the park. What do you make of McGee's display?
Mcgee, I think he played very well. I think that he took this opportunity and he delivered. He did what he was supposed to do, and it is now up to Coach Whitmore to decide how he's going to use Mcgee for the rest of the tournament. The one thing though, I think he should work on his physicality a bit more, because sometimes he just gets shrugged off the ball too easily. But apart from that, I thought he had a good game.
I believe you've made a good point. If my memory serves me well from last night match, I believe it was one of the Costa Rica player who took the ball off Tarik Mcgee and then played it back into their half, and that's how they were able to score their goal against us, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's exactly how it went. And even after that, I think that when it comes to tackling, we were, how do I say it? We weren't going in fully convicted into the tackles, because that final tackle that we made right before the goal, I think it was O'Neill Fisher. I don't think he went into that tackle fully convinced that he was going to win the ball. I think he just went into it like half-heartedly. So I think like they just need to, be, as Jamaican would say, just tackle like say eat porridge in the morning. Yeah.
Yeah. And what do you make of Michael Hector? What's your observation of Michael Hector for his first 2 games? I said in my preview of the Costa Rica match that I do think that he has received a tad bit of unfair criticism, but what's your observation of Mr. Michael Hector, and would you have put him into the Costa Rica match? And if not, would you play him in the United States game?
Yeah, you know what? I understand why he didn't start, but after seeing how the game was going, I think I would actually play him in the match, because with Speedy Williams, right? Speedy Williams replaced him. I think Speedy Williams, he played more short passes that with people close to him. But when it comes to Hector, he plays those long balls all the way over to the wingers or to the strikers. And I thought that we missed that in the game against Costa Rica. We missed stretching the defense of the Costa Ricans and the wide areas especially.
Now we know how important the upcoming game will be for us. What again, going back to what we've just brushed upon, what type of football do you want to see from Tapa's side? Are you going for the tiki-taka that seems to be quite popular amongst Jamaican football fans, or do you want more of the same from the first two games? So it won't be that pleasing on the eye, but we will get the job done.
I think Jamaica will have to know when and what stages of the game to pick their battles, when they should play tiki-taka football, when they should be more pragmatic, because I've been watching the US and they tend to go at their opponents very hard in like the very first few minutes of the match. A lot of their goals come on early in the match. They tend to catch teams when they're just starting, when concentration may lack, which is usually teams lack concentration at the beginning of a match or when they just score a goal. So I think that's when the USA really capitalize on opponents. Should go pragmatic at first and feel out the game and then, start to play football, because I think Jamaica can really beat this USA team.
I agree with you. And we do tend to have, well, if you look back at the last three games from the group stage, we have shown glimpses of us losing focus. In last night's game, it was slightly different. It was physical football from end to end, from Costa Rica and also from Jamaica as well. We seem to be passing the ball a lot better. It was a bit more, we added a bit more flair to our game. We looked like we was playing with a bit of intent, but unfortunately we just couldn't find that end product. Who is going to offer that end product for us and help us break the back line of the United States?
Oh, I think Leon Bailey is a factor in that equation. Also, I'm not sure, but I think Bobby Reed will be available for a selection against the USA. I think
that depends on. I need to double check that, but I think the decision isn't the decision as to whether or not he can play now rests in the hands of CONCACAF.
Okay, yeah, but Leon Bailey, I think he's going to be that missing piece for us against USA.
What's the one thing that you picked upon from the Costa Rica match? What's the one thing that stood out for you? Like I said, for me, we appear to be playing with a bit more flair and intent. But for you, what was the one thing that stood out?
And what I was saying is that I think that we have the right personnel that can actually come off the bench and change the game if it needs to be. And I think going into a competition in a tournament format, that having depth in your squad is very important. And last night I saw that we actually have depth.
You're absolutely right about that. The squad depth was most certainly on show. I think if you're new to watching the Reggae Boyz play and you switched on to last night's match, you would have assumed that it might possibly be the regular starting 11. So I think you're absolutely right about that. We do have to give credit to the starting 11 who took to the field last night despite of the 1-0 loss. Like I said, it was a narrow defeat. The starting 11 definitely deserve some credit despite of the results.
Yeah, definitely. Because there was a time when if Jamaica were losing 1-0, I would be thinking all hope is lost because we don't have anybody on the bench that can come on and change the game. But last night, even up to the 81st minute, I was thinking that, what? I still think we can win this game because I've seen them actually come back from behind before. So I was saying we can do it again. So that's how confident I am in this squad.
Me too. I think a lot of people would agree with you. And let's just remind the viewers and people who are watching that despite of last night's 1-0 defeat against Costa Rica, we do in fact finish as runners up in the group. So all is not lost. Although it would have been incredible had we picked up 3 points just to add to our momentum. But Travi, what do you make of our free kick taker? What's your take on that? Because so far we've seen Mr. Nicolson step up, and he hasn't found the back of the net. What do you make of the free kick taker? Who should be our free kick taker?
Yeah, I think we shouldn't have more than 2 free kick takers, to be honest. And I think Kemar Lawrence should be responsible for the ones that are further out, and I think the ones that are closer, it should be maybe between Leon Bailey and one of the strikers. That's how I think it. I think there should be set personnels that are designated to take free kicks, because I don't think that the coach really put in place anybody to take the free kicks, because I mean, even in the match yesterday, you were seeing that there were like 5 people standing around the ball deciding who should take the free kick. But I think that should be penciled out coming into the future.
But that's something, as you've quite rightly put it, you've used the term penciled out. That should have been addressed ahead of the Gold Cup, because it's such a huge tournament. Who wouldn't want to win it? And I know that we're desperate to get our hands on the trophy. And what does that say of our backroom staff and tapper as well? The fact that we have not sorted out a designated free kick taker. Or maybe they have, and if they have, is Nicolson the right person for the job?
Yeah, I think it's 2 scenarios where they haven't sorted it out, or that they have sorted it out and it's just a heat of the moment thing where, the players just want to perform for their country and score goals. But I think the coaching staff should, really grab this by the neck and handle it as quickly as possible. Yeah, because, we don't really want any contention out there on the field. So, yeah.
And since we're staying on the topic of Nicolson, what do you make of him so far? He scored a goal for us in I believe it was the opening game, right? Against Suriname. Opening game, and he might have scored the opener if I'm not mistaken. But what do you make of Nicolson? He has faced a bunch of criticism since the last couple of matches, the last 2 matches. People have been getting onto him. People have been saying, take off Nicolson and bring in Gray. Gray was brought in for last night's match, and unfortunately, he didn't answer what people were expecting him to answer. He didn't make a good account of himself.
Yeah, he's not taking his chances. To me, it looks like he's just coming off from a holiday, and this is like his pre-season, where he's getting back in form. That's what it looks like to me. But I think, I don't know if it's game time that he needs, or he's just lacking confidence at the moment. But that needs to change quickly, because we're going to be coming up against some really good opponents now. So he needs to find that goal scoring form. And who knows? The first time I saw Shamar Nicolson was before the previous Gold Cup, where he scored that singular goal for us against the USA. So maybe the USA is what he needs.
That was in a friendly, wasn't it? That 1-0. We can't forget that. I know we were watching that. And I was going through like the TL. I could see you tweeting about it, and a lot of Jamaican fans, and we were so excited. Because I don't need to say it, but I will. When it comes to the USA, we do not want to be beaten by them ever. But that was a lovely victory. It was 1-0 for those of you who might have forgotten about that scoreline. What did you like from that game as well, Travi? Because I know a lot of people are saying that, Tapper can't get this team to play attractive football. But if my memory serves me well, we did play attractive football against the United States in that friendly where Nicolson scored the lone goal.
Yeah, I think we definitely can play attractive football. I think it all depends on our midfield setup, because the midfield is what links the defense to the attack. It's kind of like the heart of the team, and I think that once we have the right midfielders in place that can complement each other and complement the strikers, I think that we can actually play some even more attractive football. So I'm just hoping that coming up against this USA team that we make the right starting level in the midfield, and that we'll progress further.
I agree. And who would you have in midfield going into that game?
Yeah, I think he will go for Hector, Daniel Johnson, and I don't know. I'm not sure. I think he might go with Junior Flemings again. But yeah, I think he will go with that. And depending on how the game goes, he might actually bring on Speedy Williams, because I think Speedy Williams, there are certain areas in his games that are very useful to the team, and he can actually come on and change the game. Or maybe he'll, start Williams, and then if the needs be, he will bring on Hector for more stability.
I'm actually quite pleased that you brought up Junior Flemings, because he's an interesting player. I think if you followed him at club level, one cannot deny his talents. But one thing I did notice from last night's game was that, for me, what's the good thing about Junior Flemings is he plays for the shirt. He plays for the black, green, and gold. But sometimes that can go against him. And I felt like last night it was going against him, because it was almost as if he was trying too hard to impress. He wasn't sticking to the basic. He wasn't trying to do things the nice and smooth and easy way. And I think he got a little bit tangled up because of that. What do you make of Fleming's performance?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think a lot of players are trying too hard. Fleming's in the game, his final passes, there were times when he shouldn't have been taking shots where he should have just laid it off to someone. There were times when he didn't have to lay it off to someone and he could have taken the shot. So I just think he needs to work on his decision making in the final third. Just simplify it, remember the basics, and I think if he does that, he will be very dangerous for us.
And also from the new recruits that have come into the squad, who has impressed you the most over the last 3 games?
Yeah, to be honest, Blair Turgot has really impressed me. The last game, not so much in terms of his, again, same thing with Junior Flemings, his decision making in the final third. But in the previous games, I thought he was playing really well. Before the call up, I wasn't aware of him at all. I had to look him up when I saw his name on the list. And first impressions of him in this Gold Cup is, I think he's doing really well for himself. And come World Cup qualifiers, I think, if he continues to play the way he's playing, he'll be giving Top of Whitmore some decisions to make when he's actually calling up people.
And since we're touching on new recruits and how well they're doing, from the rumored potential players that could come into the squad, who would you like to call up? Or who's that one player that you're looking and thinking, please just get the paperwork and the documents over the line and come into the squad for the World Cup qualifiers?
Yeah, so I don't know if the paperworks are finalized, but Kemar Roof, yeah.
Excellent choice.
Yeah, I think he's been on fire for Rangers this past season, and I think definitely after watching last night's game with our front three, I would say that Kemar Roof would be a pleasant addition to the squad.
I absolutely agree with you guys. That's all we have time for. It's really unfortunate, but as I've said, I'm on the road for work, so I can't stick along. I can't stick around for much longer because I need to get my rest. I've literally been up for 24 hours straight and I've not slept, and I have an early start tomorrow. So unfortunately, I have to bring our review of the Costa Rica game to an end. Travi, as ever, as usual, it's always an absolute pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much for blessing me with a moment of your time. And I hope we can do this again at some point
Yeah,
in the
man.
near future.
Yeah, man. The feeling's mutual, you know?
Thank you, Travi. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
All right. Same to you.
Thank you.